Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the MI podcast. So today we will discuss about sponsorships in marketing. I've chosen this topic because the first thing that we notice, without even going into the world of marketing, is sponsorships. We see so many events being sponsored. When you go outside, you see majorly like sporting events. Then you see a lot of television programming, and a lot of even you can say on sponsored YouTube events also happening. So there are a lot of events which we see and we are participating in are sponsored. Like earlier, when you used to refer to mass-based marketing, it was in television basically when you had shows being sponsored, their ads being shown during the ad breaks, and also this is all, and you had like media planners also, so they used to distribute basically your budget among what kind of shows that are shown to your particular, that they will come under your particular TG. So I think this thing has kind of evolved with digital coming in. So many kinds of audiences, granularized audience. Like you can't have uh, like the one size fits all is, it's not even relevant. Like when, even if you have a major advertiser, they would have so many different kind of breakup of the audience and how they kind of sponsor them. Even influencer marketing somewhere or the other can come under sponsored, because now a lot of influencers have a lot of content, shows, series, and these are produced with brands. So it's like an indirect kind of a sponsorship activity. Even when we see sponsored post on Instagram, something like, so it's like referred to, the general public would kind of look at it like, okay, these all things are sponsored. So this episode we'll just look at as a marketer. Like if you're a marketer, you have a particular brand and you would now get into sponsoring different kind of, then what all do these marketers they look into. Even very huge brands, they have dedicated people for this, like for sponsoring different kind of events, and then reaching out. The maximum amount of branding for B2C that happens at a mass scale is through sponsorships. So it's a very important part of marketing, and let us look into it. So, firstly, when you're sponsoring, you have to look at events and which are basically aligning with your brand values. So, what your brand represents, there is some kind of an alignment happening in terms of that. Like here, it I would say it's more of avoiding than choosing. So it's like you have to avoid certain events. Like for example, if you have a brand which like has a lot of trust, credibility, like a Tata brand, they will not maybe sponsor an event where it's maybe like like a late night kind of event where you have alcohol and all those kind of things. So maybe they might not sponsor it. Like there are a lot of events in nightclubs and all these things. So somewhere or the other, there are bands playing and all those kind of things. So they might not sponsor those kind of events. Like, so they will look at a kind of a checklist, like does this align with my brand values? Like, do I want to be associated? Because many events are going to be for enjoyment, entertainment, and you have these events where it's late man, alcohol is served and all these kind of things. So nothing wrong with it, but like in terms of does it align with your brand? So that was like an example of what will not align. There are many other cases where your brand stands for something and then they will not go for some kind of event and or an audience that will be a part of it, that is not. So it could even be like a luxury brand which might not look at an event where it is more massy, right? So it doesn't align with the right. They are maybe for the rich and elite. So that is how they look at it. So marketer has to kind of judge these kind of things, and then go forward with choosing the sponsored events. Then you have your target audience. We have to see what where all kind of events they want to go to, where all are they participating, what are their icons in terms of in pop culture, then music, in film, in stand-up comedy, and all these things. So where all can you find your particular TG, where what all are they participating in, and then identify, and then even create events so that you can reach out to them, because it's a major branding that take place when this thing, like for example, when I give a very one of the biggest success story in terms of sponsorship is Coke Studio. So with Coke Studio, basically they had a lot of artists who were coming in. They were indie artists, upcoming artists, or even established artists who were giving a not a kind of a very mainstream kind of music. It's a little bit different kind of, but very melodious and very highly artistic music. So that this kind of thing really connected with a lot of the youngsters, and Coke Studio is like known for like awesome music. Like they have millions of plays on YouTube, and also this kind of an show sponsored thing that you create, which is anonymous, becomes with your brand, like this kind of thing. So this is the best possible outcome in terms of a sponsorship. Then you have your reach and exposure, like in your event, what kind of reach are you expecting, because there are certain targets that a marketer will have in terms of how many people would come down to their event, and then how many people would might engage with the brand, because they have various activities within events and all, and whether people participate in those kind of events, and whether they have access to data also, which is the important thing in those events, and also all these things, how much exposure they will be getting, like where all will they be mentioned in their events in terms of standees, and also those things I would feel they are kind of very important. And going forward, I would say these have to be like in your checklist, like what kind of reach and exposure is expected in those events. That has to be vetted by the uh, marketer. Next, you have to see the cost effectiveness, like is the particular event likely to get some kind of a return on investment for me, because at the end of the day, when a lot of money is put into these particular events, it obviously is expected some kind of an immediate return in terms of sales from a particular area, or some kind of social media reach being enhanced or something. So these all have to be taken into account. What is the impact? Because the marketer who is organizing the whole event is will be responsible for what is actually in terms of numbers, the results that are happening. So he cannot go over budget in terms of his event, because that will go negatively against it as a marketing activity performed by the marketer. So you have to be very careful and organize these things, and it's only with experience that they can go up the ladder in terms of events. Even like the event organizers, it's a step by step journey. You can't take that big risk in terms of an event if you've not done anything similar earlier or in the same space. You can't take giant stride in that, because there's a very huge risk involved in the same. Then your competitors, you have to be aware of what kind of events they are sponsoring. The in your competitor analysis, see what all, and maybe something similar. It depends on approach, similar or even dissimilar, that we can go for, because it may be like that a particular events are being, like for example, the two major colas that are there, like the major competitors, Coke and Pepsi and all. Like if Pepsi is sponsoring major concerts and all, then maybe Coke might not want to adopt the same strategy. It might go for some sporting event or something like that. So it depends their perception of how to, in terms of it's a competition. How do you counter strategy in terms of your particular events that you're sponsoring? What kind of genre of events and you're sponsoring, and what even maybe the scales that you are going for. Like so, all this kind of do an analysis and see what they are doing. It's all in the public eye, and data getting for this is quite easy, and especially physical events. So you can see like what kind of outcome is there. Then this point is more extended from the cost effectiveness one, where um, there has to be measurable outcome which you have to report to your management. Like this is what like when I have like done events also at a small scale with a smaller company and all. We have to, like for example, in an online event, like it would be how many people may be registered for the event, how many people then they even ask questions during, so they will be active during the event. So there were certain statistics, but there are certain like goals we had, that okay, so many people will participate, will register for the event, then they will attend the event, then maybe they will engage with us during that event. And then even after the event, like maybe if in the communication going forward, did they you know have any kind of a purchase going forward from the business and what we are offering. So these kind of things have to be you have to ask yourself, and it is in the planning procedure only that it has to be done in a systematic way, basically. Awesome. So I think it was a great event about I'm sorry, not event, it's a podcast. So the great podcast about your sponsorships. So, see, my take on this is that the sponsorships over the years, obviously, they've changed the forms how you are reaching a particular audience in the form of events. Like, so, it's like how you're gonna this would a little bit different from event based marketing, because it's like already a set event is in place, and then you are attaching your name to it, right? And you are paying that particular person to organize that event or something, and or whatever is the demand, like is a major sporting event, like for example, if you take the IPL, it's sponsored by Tata. Why is it like you can all do an analysis in it? What was the reason from major sports events are being sponsored by certain brands? Like what is their position in the market, what do you think they are getting out of it, why did they do? These are some kind of questions as a marketer you can do discuss among yourselves in this. And definitely any doubts or anything, you all can reach out to me on LinkedIn. And definitely so until the next one, thank you, thanks for time, I'll see you, take care.